tripped up in the backfield by Ed Seletsky. We can still read Ed's number 54, gain of 1. It'll be 2nd and 9 at the 48-yard line for West G.
Yeah, we can still read Ed's number one-dimensionally. From the back, I can't see it at all. No, excuse me, from the front you can't see it. In the back is where it is legible right now. If he happens to take one flop in the mud on his back, we're going to have to make guesswork as to who makes the tackle when it's him.
Roethlisberger comes wide to the right, tight to the left is Blasey. In the slot left is Jim Horner, number 39. Quinlan to throw over the middle, caught by Blasey. Boy, that was a nice catch. A hard ball to hold on to. It'll be 1st and 10. No, they're going to call it incomplete. I guess he didn't hold it. Either he didn't hold it or, yeah, okay, it's an incomplete pass. So it's 3rd down. So I was wrong.
Well, it happens, Joe. I don't think any less of you for that.
Gee, thanks,
Matt Blasey is an outstanding receiver, probably one of the best in the CVC thus far this year that I've seen. We haven't covered all the teams yet, and I'll tell you one thing about this West Geauga. It's impressing me again. I think they're the most improved and probably the best 1-4 team I've seen in years.
Dino Ferrando comes wide to the right, number 20. Rolling to his right is Quinlan. Now he cuts back, fires over the middle, caught by Blasey. This time he did hold on to it, but he's thrown down about the 43-yard line, and he will be a wee bit short of the 1st down. It'll be 4th down and less than a yard, and Mike Poe's guy, in light of the terrible field conditions, is not going to gamble at this point, especially this early in the game. He'll punt it away to Chardon.
Rowan has to do his magic a little bit again because he's in one of the bad parts of the field again for his kicking. See if he can pull off another great punt like he did last time.
Once again, Rick Rowan, it's a good effort under the conditions again. Fumbled by Lynn, who picks it up at about the 10, and he skates his way across the 15 out toward the 18-yard line. That was a pretty impressive punt there. A punt by Rick Rowan of 39 yards with an 8-yard return. And we'll take time out here. 5:26 to play in the first quarter. Our score, Chardon 7, West G 6. We'll be back after this timeout on Cablevision. 5:13 to play here in half number 1. Chardon 7, West Geauga 6, our score. And the Chardon Hilltoppers have the football 1st and 10 at their 18-yard line. And the give is to O'Patterney. He gets across the 20, maybe to the 21. He picked up 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
Yeah, it's extremely tough footing out there tonight. You can just see it because between both ball carriers. Julian had a nice breakaway, straight-ahead run on that touchdown he had earlier. O'Patterney hasn't had much of an opportunity this evening because of the footing to show his magic as of yet. So I wouldn't be surprised to see either one of them just able to find that one solid piece of turf, plant their foot, and again break another long one.
Clock is running, 4:27 to play here in the first half. 2nd and 7 for Chardon at the Chardon 21. Coming in motion right now, it looks like O'Patterney. And the pitch is to O'Patterney, rather. It was Mike Lynn who came in motion. And O'Patterney gets across the 25. Out near the 27, maybe the 28-yard line. Is going to be a wee bit short of the 1st down. It'll be 3rd down and maybe about a yard for a Chardon 1st down.
Yeah, it was a real nice play there. A little dangerous with the wet ball conditions. You got two ball carriers. A quarterback and a ball carrier who have the hands, where you can get the mud on the ball just a little bit coming up from the center position and all. It's tough. I'm surprised to see a pitch, though. That is the only one we've had thus far in this game. It's pretty much a direct handoff night because of all the problems with field conditions.
I'm really surprised the ball has been handled as well as it has been in this game, because, that ball really gets slick, especially when you're sitting right there in the mud. That run by O'Patterney is not going to count, by the way. We have a penalty against Chardon for holding. That'll make it 2nd and forever for the Hilltoppers. Actually, it'll be 2nd and 19 back around the 9-yard line.
I think that was an illegal block, Joe.
Or it was an illegal block. Okay.
One of the down men leading O'Patterney on that pitch out, blocked below the waist, which is an illegal in a high school ruling.
2nd down and 19 for Chardon. Neely tight to the left, Waycobb tight to the right, and the slot right is Scaleris. And the give is to Mike Lynn, and Mike Lynn is going nowhere. No, that's O'Patterney, rather. Now we see Mike Lynn's number. It's barely visible. Jim O'Patterney's number, however, is not. He carried the ball for about a 1-yard gain. It'll be 3rd and 18 for Chardon at the Chardon 10-yard line.
Yeah, I'll tell you, these jersey numbers are dropping off left and right. Just one flopping in the mud, and whoever that player is, he's pretty much unrecognizable for us for the rest of the evening. I understand West Geauga at halftime is going to change jerseys, put on their practice jerseys, so they'll be fresh coming out second half. I'm not sure if Chardon is going to be doing the same thing, if they brought an extra set of jerseys. We'll have to see.
3rd down and 18 for Chardon at the Chardon 10. Howard Joyner gives the ball again to Jim O'Patterney. This time he picks up about 2 yards out to the 12. It'll bring up 4th and 17. The Hilltoppers will be forced to punt. And I believe we have it'll be 4th down and 17, and once again a Chardon punt. And we have a timeout on the field. Timeout on the field. 2:58 to play in the first half with our score, Chardon 7, West Geauga 6. We'll be back after this timeout on Cablevision. In the first half at Stretch Howell Field at West Geauga High School, Joe Scarola along with John Walsh. And there's a high kick by Mike Scalaris. John Julian trips and falls trying to field the ball, and he's thrown down at midfield. Thrown down right there by the Chardon Hilltoppers. I believe it was number 44, Mike Hummel, in on the play. Yeah, it was. As we see him running off the field, he has a clean jersey. No wonder we were able to pick him out.
Yeah, and that's his second tackle tonight.
Yeah.
I think he's fallen on his face. We're seeing the jersey from the back as he goes back to the bench area. I bet the front of it is muddy.
The man must lead a charmed life. 1st and 10 at midfield. Tight to the right is Blasey. Wide to the left is Sabraco. In the slot left is Roethlisberger. It's Lorenzo left, Julian right in the tee. The give is to John Julian. He fumbles the football at the 49-yard line, but I believe he got it back. There's a gain of 1 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 9 for West G at the Chardon 49.
Okay, back me up in this or disagree, Joe, but I think that was Ed Zaletsky on that tackle. What do you think?
I think it was.
It just seemed to be the area, and I tell you, Ed is a total mud ball out there. He's just totally saturated with mud. I'm sure the inside of him is just covered with mud also.
We'll get back to this story here in just a minute. 2nd down and 9 at the 49-yard line for West G. This is the give to Nick Lorenzo, and he is pummeled right as he reaches the line of scrimmage by Chuck Cox. No gain. It'll be 3rd and 9. There used to be a game, in fact, they may still be playing it for all I know, out here at West Geauga, on this field, as a matter of fact, or one of the fields right around here. They had the Turkey Day game. I don't know whether they still have that or not, where a bunch of maniacs, go out and play in the mud. They find the muddiest weather possible, and they go out and play right in the middle of it, and those guys love that stuff. You'd see guys out there 30, 35 years old, like little kids, in the mud. It was just amazing. And 2nd down and 9. Here's the give to Julian, 40, 35. He fights his way to the 32-yard line of Chardon, and he has a 1st down. Tackled there by a couple of Chardon players. We'll find out who they are.
Yeah, that was a beautiful run by Julian. Good up front blocking by the right side of the defensive line, led by Sevnicki and Fortenbaugh, who opened a nice little lane for Julian to do his magic with, and Julian did. Excellent running, excellent up front blocking.
1st and 10 at the 32-yard line. That Turkey Day game was a tradition around here for years, and a lot of the guys who played in it have moved away, but I wonder whether they're still playing that game. Maybe somebody can tell me here. John Quinlan rolling to the right, 35, knocked out of bounds to about the 31. He picked up a yard, but the referees are going to take a few more than that because there's a flag flying. Once again, it's thrown by an umpire, which means holding, and that's exactly what it is. It's a holding call against West Geauga.
Yeah, that was a strange place for a hold, actually, because the quarterback was rolling to his right, and the flag was thrown towards the middle of the field. It would have taken whoever was held quite a while to get to the quarterback to keep out. It was a bad choice to have a hold on that call. Should just let him go. I doubt if he would have got involved in the play.
48 seconds to play here in the first half. Of course, we'll have music at halftime. We'll also have a feature with the Chardon cheerleaders, if I'm not mistaken, that we've been waiting to show you for about 3 weeks now, and we never had a chance to get it in before. If you're waiting for that, this week is the week. It is finally going to arrive.
For sure, Joe?
Yes, for sure. 48 seconds to play here in the first half. West Geauga's football, they have it 1st and 20. Back at the 42-yard line. Quinlan rolling to his right, fires it short and incomplete, intended for Blasey. down around the 35. It'll be 2nd and 20, 44 seconds to play.
I tell you, quite honestly, I admire this thinking of Coach Poe's guy. He's not content to go down with being the deficit of 7-6 at halftime. He wants to go into halftime with a lead. He's really trying to get that ball down so he can get some points on the board.
I tell you, it takes some guts to throw the ball in this slop.
Sure.
2nd down and 20 at the 42-yard line. Wide to the left is Roethlisberger, and the slot left for West Geauga is Herman. Here's the give to Julian. Julian breaks a tackle, 35, 30, 25. He is knocked out of bounds down around the 22-yard line, and he may well be within measuring distance of a West Geauga first down. John Julian with another outstanding run for West G, and the clock is stopped with 37 seconds to play here in the first half, and it is a first down.
Yeah, it was nice running. It was like Julian hesitated, waiting for the defender who had him to reach a muddy part of his uniform where he could slide right down. Then he just took off again and let him slide off of him. It was a real nice job of shaking that Chardon defender who had him downfield before he got much yardage out of that run.
Once again, the clock is stopped. 37 seconds to play in the first half. Of course, you know, remind you, of course, every Monday and Thursday as they come out to measure here to see, in fact, whether they did get the first down. You can see CBC football action right here on Cablevision Channel 9. You'll see a lot of good things on Cablevision Channel 9. Of course, I guess we'll have basketball for you this year, too. At least that's what they're telling me. And you can catch a lot of other football action, all kinds of college football action over the weekend on ESPN Channel 34 and USA Channel 41. So, you know, keep your set tuned to Cablevision. You'll get all kinds of good football action all fall long.
Yeah, West G came up about a foot short on that particular play. I'm sure it's no doubt they're going to be going for it. It'll just be interesting to see if they do a fake little buck into the line and go for the deep one to get the 6 points out of this play. I think Chardon will be lulled into thinking they're strictly going for a first down. They might try to break it into a big game winner because they do have the 2 downs to get it.
And of course, at halftime, we will see the bands as we have another timeout here, and I believe this one called by Chardon as Bob Doyle is going to come out and have a chat with all the folks out there. Out in the Chardon defense.
Maybe he was thinking exactly what I was. Don't be sure that they're just going to go to pick up the first down. They might try the big one, so you secondary people drop off, be prepared for a pass play, come off with a fake play-action pass.
Oh, we saw Mike Poe's guy do that earlier in the season against Mayfield, and West Geauga was faced with fourth about a yard down around the Mayfield 9-yard line, and they went for it, and it was a rollout play, if I remember right. It didn't work, but they took a shot at throwing the ball, you know, going for the big play, and they may very well do it again, especially in a situation where they have third down, you know, have another down to run the ball if, you know, if they wind up with an incompletion, something along that line. 3rd and 1 at the 37-yard line. Of course, they only have 37 seconds left. Sabraco comes wide to the right, tight to the left is Blasey. Quinlan to throw under heavy pressure, fires. It is tipped in and out of the hands of Blasey. Incomplete. I think it was Bill Henderson covering on the play, number 30 down at the 15-yard line. It'll bring up 4th down. It is 4th and 1 for West G with 32 seconds to play in the half.
Yeah, that's another one of those players with a real muddy jersey. Bill Henderson's as good a guess as I can come up with too, Joe. It's really hard to judge who that was. I tried to read his number and I couldn't.
It is unbelievable. We cannot tell you how much mud the rain has left in northeast Ohio. It's just amazing. The give is to Julian. He takes it down to the 20, picks up about 2 yards. It'll be good for a first down, and immediately West Geauga stops the clock with 28 seconds to play in the half.
Yeah, just as we were seeing, Joe, they did have the shot, took the shot at the pass, tried to get the big yardage out of it because they knew they could fall back. They had another down coming up where they could go for the first down, which they did and completed successfully.
Certainly did, and I'll tell you. We'll have a lot of good action for you the next 4 weeks of the season here on Cablevision. Geauga County High School football. Of course, we cannot tell you where we will be in advance because of our arrangements with the schools in question. Of course, we can tell you that, you'll see either Chardon or West Geauga or Kenston or Chagrin Falls, the 4 schools in our coverage area. You'll see at least one of those teams and possibly 2 every week. And we do our best to bring you high school football action for the 2nd consecutive year here on Cablevision Channel 9.
Yeah, hopefully some of this stuff will get sorted out. We'll start getting a tighter race in here. Right now we have Wycliffe and Kenston out front with just the 2 wins, no losses as of yet. A lot of teams with just a 1 loss behind them. It can get bunched up real quick. Tonight we have Solon playing Wycliffe, so it's possible Wycliffe could get their first loss because they're front up against a fine Solon team.
Very, very tough ball club there from Solon. 1st and 10, and pitches to Darris, throwing it into the end zone, and it is in and out of the hands of John Julian right at the goal line. Well, that was the old lateral, to the back, and then he fires it upfield, across the field toward Julian. Julian tried to make a diving catch right at the goal line, but he could not hang on to that slippery ball, and it'll be 2nd and 10 with 23 seconds to play in the half.
Yeah, the pass is a little bit overthrown. I tell you, Julian, though, did beat his man. He was in the open. The play worked, just wasn't executed properly.
2nd down and 10. 23 seconds to play. 2nd and 10 from the 20-yard line. Quinlan steps into the pocket, fires down the middle. It is caught by Sabraco. Touchdown. Touchdown, West Geauga. Sabraco wide open behind the Chardon defense. Split the seam in the zone. Quinlan put that wet ball right on the money, and West Geauga is back on the board, and with 18 seconds to play in the first half, the Wolverines lead at 12-7.
Yeah, that was a sharp pass by Quinlan and a good diving catch by Sabraco on that particular play. That's nice to see. Like I mentioned before, I admire Coach Pozak guy for not just being complacent, going in just 1 point down. He wanted to go into halftime with a lead. And that's, unless a miracle occurs for Chardon, that's exactly what he's going to be doing.
12-7, and I imagine that West G is going to go for 2 in this situation. They are. Wide to the right comes Roethlisberger. In the slot right for West Geauga is Bracco. Here's the give to John Julian, and he will not score. He'll be taken down about the 1-yard line, so the attempt for the 2-point conversion is no good. With 18 seconds to play here in the first half, it's West Geauga 12, Chardon 7.
I tell you, like I alluded to momentarily earlier in the game here, this West Geauga is definitely a misleading 1-4. You look at a record like 1-4, you expect a very weak pushover team. This is the 2nd occasion we've covered West Geauga this year, and they're anything but a pushover team. They're a very strong, fundamentally sound football team, and vastly improved over last year's squad, and they're definitely going to be a factor in this CBC. Maybe not a contender, but they're definitely going to be up there and enough to cause trouble for some of the people who are contenders.
"18 seconds to play here in the first half.
Imagine this kick, Joe, will be put on the ground. They won't get it up where there'll be any kind of a run back at all.
No reason for him to put it up.
Flop around in the mud a little bit.
Benet will kick off for West Geauga, and it is a squib kick right on the ground, taken by one of the Chardon up man who's going to return it. That's Mike Lynn. He cuts to the outside. He has one man to beat, and he doesn't beat him. He's thrown down there by Chris Veris, number 19, and Chardon will have the football at about the fact they'll be in West Geauga territory at about the 46-yard line with 9 seconds to play in the first half.
What do you think, Coach Doyle will be comfortable going in at halftime with the score 12-7, or will he try to put some points quick and go to the air for one big play?
I guess you might see some kind of a trick play, but I think it might be more of a trick running play than a trick passing play. Well, you're not going to see any play at all because they let the clock run out, and that's the end of the first half. The first half is over here at Stretch Howell Field in Chesterland, Ohio, with our score. West Geauga 12, Chardon 7. We'll have the bands for you at halftime right here on Cablevision. Then we'll come right back with the second half. So stay tuned. 20, and he's thrown down by a horde of Chardon players as he reaches the 21. Thrown down there, I believe, by number 76, Carl Ferrara. It'll be 1st and 10 for, not number 76, Carl Ferrara, was number 36 of Chardon, Chuck Cox. 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line.
Just by way of explanation, West Geauga now is in the white jerseys, Chardon is in the dark jerseys. They both put on their respective alternate uniforms to start the second half. A good idea by both coaching staffs.
1st and 10 at the 25. Quinlan gives the ball to Julian, and Julian is out to about the 27-yard line. It's thrown down there by Dave Scanlon after a gain of 2. It'll be 2nd and 8 for West G at the West G 27.
I suspect we'll see pretty much what we saw in the first half. Just straight ahead football, nothing fancy, because the field conditions will not allow for anything fancy where you get the reversals and all kinds of doodad plays. I think it will just be straight ahead football, power against power, see who wins.
And as the game wears on, the footing is going to get worse and worse. Give again to Nick Lorenzo this time. He picks about 2 yards, maybe 3 up toward the 30. Let's call it 3rd and 5 for West Geauga at the West G 30-yard line.
I'm sure West Geauga wants to get the momentum, keep it going their way by getting this first down, maybe another 1 or 2, show that they can move the ball again, establish themselves in this second half. Chardon's mission is to stop them here, get the ball back, try to get back into this game on the scoreboard.
3rd and 5 at the 30-yard line. Wide to the left comes Sterling, or in motion right is Chris Veras. Julian takes it across the 35 out to about the 39-yard line.
Yeah, notice a different strategy by Chardon defensively here. Normally you have Fred Kyle playing the safety position, Jeff Plima playing the monster position. They align in that method, but when a man goes in motion, in essence, Kyle becomes a monster man, trails after him, Plima drops back to cover the safety position. I don't know exactly what the purpose of that is, but we'll have to see if it comes into play later on in this ball game.
4th down for West G. They're across the 30 out to about the 32-yard line. It'll be 4th and 3. Rick Rowan again will come on to punt.
Have to see what Rowan does here, because in essence he's punting from one of the better spots in the field. I noticed when he was punting for the muddy situations before, he was shortening up, not taking his full high leg extension on that. He was kind of just keeping the footing, making sure of the footing, getting the kick off, and doing a very effective job of it. We'll have to see if this time we might get the better extension. But it turned out with the measurement, West Geauga got the first down, so we'll have to wait to see what Mr. Rowan does when it happens.
Actually, talking there about Rowan really helped him a lot when it really came down to it. He got off some good punts in that first half in spite of these terrible weather conditions.
Yeah, really surprised at it. Rowan shanked one, but short of that, the kicking game has been fairly sound this evening for both squads, doing a good job adjusting. Because kicking, you know, it's tough to plant 2 feet when you only have 1 foot planted. That makes it twice as difficult.
West Geauga football at the 39-yard line, 1st and 10. Sabraco comes in motion right. John Quinlan, the quarterback, pitches the ball to Julian. Julian hit out of bounds at the 40-yard line by a horde of Chardon players. Chief among them, Dave Scanlon, whose number is once again about to disappear. Ed Zaletsky was also in on the play. We'll call it a gain of 1. It'll be 2nd and 9 at the 40-yard line.
Hey, Ed Zaletsky is one of the most extremely mobile nosemen I've ever seen. He's right on the ball, and yet plays it string to the outside and all. He has the quickness to get out there, get involved in the play itself, besides coming in from his nose tackle position on a straight line and getting sacks and losses in the backfield. Ed Zaletsky does an outstanding position from that nose.
2nd and 9, rolling to his right is Quinlan, and he's going to be smothered. John Quinlan will be buried back around the 30-yard line. It's going to be a 10-yard loss. It'll bring up 3rd and forever for West G, back around the 30.
Yeah, those are a couple of big defensive plays for Chardon, something they need to get themselves back going into this game. Because right now, at this point, it's still going West Geauga's way. they kind of broke the hearts of Chardon somewhat, getting that 18 seconds left in the first half score to take over the lead. This is what Chardon needed to do, get themselves pumped up again by making a good defensive stand so they can get back into it momentum-wise.
Wide to the left comes Roethlisberger, and the slot left is Sabraco. Tight to the right is Blasey. Lorenzo left, Julian right in the tee. The give is to Nick Lorenzo. Breaks a tackle and bulls his way across the 35 out to about the 36-yard line. It's a gain of 6. He will be well short of the first down. It is 4th and 13 for West G at the West G 36-yard line. And once again, the Wolverines and Rick Rowan will be forced to punt.
Yeah, surprisingly, coming out of that fullback spot, I believe that's only the 3rd carry for Lorenzo this evening. It's been pretty much ball put in the air or handed to Julian. That's been the offense for West Geauga.
Once again, a low snap, but Rowan gets it off quickly, and that ball hits right in the mud and sits there. And I don't know whether the Chardon player touched it or not. We'll find out. We'll find out. I believe it's going to be West Geauga's football. I believe that Mike Lynn touched the ball, and West Geauga got it back. It was not Daryl Kalura, excuse me, it was Leif Johnson. Now we're going to find out here. Now, the question that's going on the field is, did a Chardon player touch the ball? And if it is, it's West Geauga's ball.
There's the first indication by a referee.
And the indication by the referee is a Chardon player did not touch the ball, so therefore it is Chardon's football back at about the 43-yard line of the Wolverines. To tell you what this field is, we saw that kick by Rowan hit the ground at the 43-yard line and came to a dead halt.
Point up. Did you notice that?
Yes.
It was like it was going to be a place kick of some sort. It was like in a kicking stand.
1st and 10 from the 43-yard line. Scolaris in motion left. Here's the give to Lynn. Lynn across the 45 to the 47. Thrown down there by Daryl Kalura. Number 57 also in on the play for West Geauga is Mike Kristoff. Number 86. Gain of about 4. It'll be 2nd and 6 for Chardon at the 47-yard line of the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, that was a nice little straight up the middle hole. Good blocking up front by Jim Silk and Chuck Jasinski, the center on that play, to give a little lane for Lynn to do his power running.
Scolaris in the slot right now. He comes in motion left, and the give is to Scolaris crossing left, and that didn't fool anybody. Scolaris thrown for a loss at the 46. In there on the play for West Geauga, big Mike Petronis, number 78. Threw him for that 1-yard loss. It'll be 3rd and 7 now for Chardon back at the 46-yard line.
Yeah, here's a big play in the second half for Chardon to get going again. They could use a huge one right now to get themselves the first down, start to establish their offense, something that's essentially been pretty much non-existent. They haven't had that much in the way of yardage or first downs this evening. West Geauga is shutting them down rather well.
Howard Joyner, the sophomore quarterback, brings him up and he rolls to throw. Steps up, fires it. It is tipped and almost intercepted. That was a close call down there. Leif Johnson almost pulled it down, number 52, but he couldn't hold on to the football. It'll bring up 4th down, 4th and 7 for Chardon at the Chardon 46-yard line, and the Hilltoppers will be forced to punt.
Yeah, like you said, Joe, Leif Johnson on that particular play did a very good defensive job, almost had the interception, made himself unrecognizable at that point because he landed on his back, and then when he realized he couldn't have the interception, turned around, pounded his fist on the ground, got his front all soaked. He's just covered with mud now, front and back.
Mike Scolaris will do the punting. He gets a good snap and a high, booming kick by Scolaris over the head of Julian. It's going to roll toward the end zone. It's going to roll dead down around the, looks like about the West Geauga 7-yard line. A very effective punt by Mike Scolaris, I'll tell you, in incredibly poor weather conditions. We have timeout on the field, 6:49 to play here in the 3rd quarter with our score. West Geauga 12, Chardon 7. We'll be back after this timeout on Cablevision. We're going to watch the referees mark this penalty against the West Geauga Wolverines.
Yeah, they're definitely way back. The ball is, what, about the half-yard line, yard line? It's way down there where now is not the time where you want to miss snap or something, because at the minimum, I'm sure it will be 2 points for Chardon.
And more likely 6. 1st down and 11. And back around the half-yard line. Here's the give to Julian. He picks up maybe a yard or two. We'll call it the 2. Maybe a yard and a half. It'll be second down and about 10 for West G at the 2-yard line.
Yeah, I saw Chuck Cox came blitzing in from his linebacker position on that one. That was the case where Chardon was going to get the 2 points, try to get the quick quarterback snap, or hopefully he was going in the right area or the ball carrier was coming his direction. He could have got him for the 2 points.
Second down, and, well, we're still going to call it 12, back around the 2. Quinlan again gives the ball to Julian. He breaks the tackle and fights his way out toward the 5. It's thrown down there by Dave Scanlon. Bill Vincicara was also in on the play. It'll be third down from the 5-yard line and about 7 yards to go.
Yeah, this is a tough ground area to move in right now. You don't have much room. Now they got a little more breathing room that they had earlier, but still it's nothing much to brag about. The Rowan again is going to be forced if West Geauga doesn't attain a first down in this play to be punting under difficult circumstances.
Third down and 7. Here's the give to Julian. Julian fights his way out toward the 10. In fact, he stopped at about the 9-yard line. He picked up 4 yards, but he will be short of the first down, and West Geauga will be forced to punt.
Tell you, Joe, that was a saving tackle by Chuck Cox in that particular play, because the secondary Chardon was all shifted over to the right, aligning with the West Geauga offensive alignment. And if he could have gotten by Cox, I think Julian could have just taken the ball completely all the way down the field for a touchdown.
Fourth down, about 3. Rick Rowan to do the punting. Deep to receive, Howard Joyner and Mike Lynn. This time Rowan gets off a low short kick that's going to hit around the 30-yard line and roll dead right there. In fact, it'll roll dead at about the 29. So it'll be first and 10 for Chardon at the West Geauga 29-yard line after the short punt, thanks, of course, in large part to lousy weather. It'll be first and 10 at the 29.
Yeah, that's a big break for Chardon, but then again, it's one that they really have to capitalize on, or it's momentum-wise, it could kind of break their hearts and put them in a hole for the rest of the game. It's almost up to Chardon to put it in the end zone, or they could, momentum-wise, again, put themselves out of the game, because they've been handed one, and if they don't execute on it, they could be in trouble.
First and 10 at the 29. We're under the 4-minute mark now here in the third quarter, and the give is to Mike Scolaris. Takes it down to the 26. He was hit down there by number 69, Frank Kalo, a senior lineman. Gain of 3. It'll be second down and 7.
Yeah, that was a good little lane open up for Scolaris to do his running on. That's what Chardon needs. Good, safe handling plays. Get a little bit of the drive going so they can get that ball into scoring range real easily.
Second down and 7 at the 26-yard line as the Hilltoppers break the huddle. Tight to the right comes Neely. Now we're going to have a timeout. Chardon calls for a timeout. So with this timeout, we'll take timeout. 3:13 to play here in the third quarter with our score. West Geauga 12, Chardon 7. We'll be back after this timeout on Cablevision.
Hello, I'm Warren Babcock.
Here at Stretch Howell Field at Chesterland, Ohio, on the grounds of West Geauga High School, as Howard Joyner pitches the football to Mike Lynn, I believe that is. Oh, that was Jeff Palima, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Jeff Palima. He's across the 25 to about the 23, a gain of 3 more. It'll be 3rd and 4 for Chardon at the West G 23.
Yeah, that's odd, putting in Palima to backs up the tackle. He's a starting monster man for the Chardon defense, and is a backup halfback at both the halfback positions and all. But it's rare to see where you get a critical situation like this where Chardon has to keep the drive going, to hand it to essentially an inexperienced offensive player.
3rd down and 4. Coming in motion left is Mike Lynn. Here's the pitch to Palima, and he is thrown down on a beautiful defensive play for no gain. Mike Petronis, number 78, came knifing through to make a brilliant tackle, holding Palima to no gain. It'll be 4th down and 4 for Chardon at the 23-yard line.
And I would guess, again, Chardon is going to go for it here because the kicking games you just can't count on. And this way they would have West Geauga, even if they don't execute the play properly, have them down on the far side deep on the field that they want them at.
tough to even have a kicking game in this quagmire that we're witnessing out here. Of course, I don't know how well you can see it on the... Well, I can see how you can see it on the screen. I mean, there are large puddles of water out here. Chardon will go for it on 4th and 4 from the West G 23. Rolling to his right is Joyner. He throws. It is caught out there by O'Patterney. Breaks the tackle. 20, 15, 10-5, touchdown. Whoa! Jim O'Patterney in for the score, and Chardon leads it 13-12.
Excellent running by O'Patterney after he received the pass. It was a good job of Joyner getting the ball to him. Good reception by O'Patterney, but I think it would have been a little bit short. There was one defender that came up, and I seriously don't believe O'Patterney had the first down. He had to break that tackle, and then he just put a couple jukes on later on, found his way in the end zone.
In fact, actually, I don't know how O'Patterney slipped out of that one tackle, and it looked like he was really wrapped up there. He managed to slide through it and get to the outside. Then he made a great cut back to the inside around the 10-yard line, and that's what put him in the end zone.
Fine running by O'Patterney.
Chardon will go for 2. Wide to the right comes Waycobb, and we're going to have a penalty.
What do you think of that last play, Joe? Do you think O'Patterney had the first down when that one defender that you talked about?
No, I think if that defender had thrown him down there, I think he would have been stopped short.
I believe he would have too. So that play was just a tribute. Well, that score was a tribute to just the pure talents of Jim O'Patterney.
Looked to me like he was as much as a yard short of the first down when he broke out of that tackle, broke free from that tackle there.
I believe so. It's just a case of a player wanting to do it. He's been squelched pretty well this evening. That was his one occasion to get back into it and do his job as a senior running back.
And Chardon will go for it here on the 4th down, and for the 2-point conversion, they won't make it. O'Patterney carrying the ball again, this time going nowhere. We have timeout on the field. 1 minute, 38 seconds to play here in the 3rd quarter. With our score, Chardon 13, West Geauga 12. We'll be back after this timeout on Cablevision. The Century 21 on the Square professionals are dedicated to helping see at their own 26-yard line.
Yeah, ordinarily that ball would have went out of bounds. It looked like it died just a hair short of the line there, which is fortunate for the Chardon group, who would have had to kick it 5 yards back. There's no question that one was going to be a low on-the-ground kick, because kickoff man Straczynski didn't even tee the ball up. He kind of just set it down in the ground, so it was going to be one of those ground squibblers.
1st and 10 for West Geauga, the 26-yard line. Sobracco wide to the left. Quinlan rolling it toward the sideline, and it's intercepted by Dave Scanlon at the 40. No, that's Phil Vincicara, excuse me, who intercepted the ball at the 40-yard line for Chardon. And the Hilltoppers get a big break on the turnover, and they have a chance to take complete control of this ball game as they have the football 1st and 10 at the West G 40-yard line following the interception.
Yeah, it was a poor choice by quarterback Quinlan, who never should have put the ball up. The receiver was defended extremely well. He was sandwiched between 2 Chardon defenders. They had very good coverage on him, and it was just one of those unfortunate choices that went against West Geauga that occasion.
58 seconds to play here in the 3rd quarter as Chardon breaks the huddle, and they have the football 1st and 10 at the West G 40. Here's the give to Mike Lynn. He takes the ball to the 36-yard line. He's knocked down there by a horde of West G players. Mike Petronis, number 78. In on the tackle, also in there, Mike Kristoff, number 88, a gain of 4. It'll be 2nd and 6 at the 36-yard line for Chardon.
Now, this is a point in the game where, watching Chardon in earlier games, it seems to be the Mike Lynn hour, where Coach Doyle seems to like his sure-handedness, his straightforward, up-the-middle type of play. Once he gets a lead, he kind of protects it by just giving the ball to Lynn on sure, straight-ahead football. 2nd
down 6 at the, with 16 seconds to play. This will be the last play of the 3rd quarter. Joyner rolling to his right, looking to throw. Fires it down the middle. It is caught by Skolaris, and he's down inside the 5 at about the 2-yard line for a 1st down.
Well, so much for looking at trends. As I mentioned, I thought Bob Doyle would go very conservative right now and hand the ball straight up on safe plays to Lynn. But he opened the game up. Surprised me, surprised West Geauga, obviously, because Skolaris is well behind the West G defenders, a little bit underthrown by quarterback Joyner, who, if he could have got the ball out in front of him, Scaleras could have walked into the end zone very, very easy.
That's the end of the third quarter with our score. Chardon 14, West Geauga 12. We'll be back after the Century 21 on the square professionals are dedicated to gain. It'll be second and goal from the 4.
That was a good choice by Joyner, not trying to pick up the ball, make something out of it. Because you're down in the position on the field right now where you don't want the air. You got to take the safe thing. You may lose a yard on the fumble snap, but that beats the heck out of having a turnover in a position where your momentum is built up. You're heading in towards getting the score. Good choice by quarterback Joyner.
11:24 to play here in the ball game. Chardon leads at 14-12, and they have the ball second and goal. In fact, the ball is back at the West G 6-yard line. Joyner rolling to his right, looking into the end zone, fires. It's in and out of the hands of Wacob. At least that looks like Wacob rather than Neely. I think we see 86 down there rather than 89. It'll be third and goal now for Chardon.
This is a bit premature, especially since we've had good defensive work out of West Geauga, but it'll be interesting to see if Chardon does push us in. Since they're on the better end of the field as far as mud conditions and all, if they'll go for the 1-point kick, which will give them the 8-point lead, or if they're trying to get 2 to kind of salt it away, to putting West Geauga in a 2-score position. Interesting to see what they do if they do happen to get the ball in the end zone, but they still got that roughly 8 yards to go.
Third and goal, call the ball at about the 7-yard line. Joyner back to throw, fires into the end zone. It is intercepted. He overthrew it, and it's intercepted down there. That looks like Sabraco. No, excuse me, it's number 47, Jim Troha, who made the interception. 47, not 37. And West Geauga gets a big break, and on the touchback, they'll take over first and 10 at their own 20-yard line. I think somebody blew a pattern, and Howard Joyner threw the ball to a spot, and there was nobody there.
Well, there was somebody there. There was the West Geauga defenders. I think, again, that was just like I mentioned earlier, Quinlan made a wrong choice of throwing into too much coverage. I think quarterback Joyner made the wrong choice in that particular one, throwing it in the area that was far too covered with West Geauga players. We had the trade-off of turnovers. We're back to straight-ahead football again.
I have an idea. Somebody was supposed to make a side adjustment and didn't make it on that play. And the give is to Julian, or that's Lorenzo, rather. Lorenzo's thrown down for a loss at the 18-yard line, lost 2. It'll be second and 12.
Yeah, again, we had real good penetration by that Chardon up front. I believe it was Zaletsky again coming out of his nose tackle position to get in on the loss on the running back that play.
Second down, 12 yards to go. Wide to the left is Roethlisberger for West Geauga. In the slot left is Chris Barris. Tight to the right is Blasey, Lorenzo left, and Julian right in the tee. The give to John Julian, rather, a big hole. Julian across the 20 out to about the 23-yard line. The hole was filled quickly by Chuck Cox, who threw him down there after a short gain. Well, it wasn't really a short gain. It was about a 6-yard gain, but still it'll bring up third and 6.
Yeah, he was helped out by Scanlon and Bill Bailey on that play, who helped out Cox on that particular tackle. Good, strong running by Julian. He definitely is one of the premier running backs. As I mentioned earlier in the game, we got 2 of the better ones in the league in this game, between Julian and O'Patterney.
So you look at the backs of the ball players, you can see how wet this field is. Here's the give again to Julian across the 25, breaks tackle 30, 35, 40, and he's knocked out of bounds around the 43-yard line of West Geauga. A big gain for John Julian. He picked up 19 yards and a first down.
Yeah, it was somewhat of a saving tackle again on that one by Jeff Plima, coming out of his position to make that tackle after Julian had shook off a couple of Chardon defenders up the field a little bit. If he had got by Plima, there'd have been only one more man, safety man Fred Kyle, who was handing there, and Julian was on a better part of the field where he might have been able to put on one of his magical moves and go away for 6. Dangerous running back.
First and 10 at the 43-yard line. In the slot left is Sabraco. Here's the give to Julian. He's cut down for no gain this time at the 43. Ed Seletsky and Todd Lee made the tackle. No gain. Second and 10 for West G at the West G 43 with 9:05 and the clock running.
Yeah, that was just too quick a hitter, I think. Julian didn't get too much time. The play hit so rapidly that the offensive lineman didn't get much of an opportunity to open up a hole because immediately upon the snap, Julian was right on their backs. They really didn't have time to establish the play.
May have been designed as a slow-developing play, and he got to the hole just a little too quickly before they had a chance to open it up. Here's the give to Julian, 45, up to the 49, close to midfield. It's thrown down there by Dave Scanlon. We'll give him midfield, a gain of 7 on the play. It'll be 3rd and 3 for West Geauga at the midfield stripe.
Yeah, I noticed on that play. I didn't notice in the previous one where we had the quick hitter there by Julian. But West Geauga is creeping up. They're fairly close to the line of scrimmage, the backs I'm alluding to. And I don't know if that's meant to be or if they're just coming up just a little bit for whatever reason, but they don't seem to have their normal drop depth.
3rd and 3 at the 49. The give is to Julian, and he slipped on his initial step after he picked up the ball. It slipped as he was making his cut back into the middle of the field, and he's thrown down after, in fact, no gain. They'll mark him right at midfield. It'll be 4th down and about a yard, and now we're going to have timeout for a measurement, although I can see right here that he is well short of the first down, although he would have gotten the first down easily had he been able to stay on his feet.
Yeah, very much so, but then again, that's a tribute to this field out here, who is definitely like a third team on the field. It's Chardon against West Geauga, with the field also playing a major role in this game.
Yes.
Right.
And the field is winning, as you would expect.
Well, what do you think, Joe? Is Coach Poe's guy going to go in some gambling here and try to get it?
Probably depends on how
real. Is there